Hello everyone, DonTheCrown here, back with some Wayfinder information. This is a game that came out about a year ago, and I had kind of a good time playing this, but it had a lot of issues back in the day, with a lot of systems and a lot of lag and long queues and stuff like that. But the game has changed massively now, and one of the big things is that they lost their publishing company that was supposed to publish the game for them, and so they're doing everything now themselves. And a big change that they made is they're completely removing the online requirements for the game, and it's going to be a single standalone purchase with no in-game cosmetic purchases or like microtransactions at all. And I think that is, for a lot of people, going to be very disappointing, but for me, I think that's a really great change because it allows you to just kind of play single player. You don't have to wait for queues, none of that stuff. You don't have to worry about like shops or battle passes or other stuff. And it's just going to be a fun game to play. Now, in terms of the timing for this, I'll show you a little quick graphic that they have here. On May 31st, the Echoes update soft launched for all founders. So if you had previously founded the game, you would have access to that already. It's the 1st of June now. And on the 11th, the game will go live on Steam for $24.99. And then in the summer, it's going to go live on PlayStation. And then fall, it's going to leave early access and the price will supposedly increase. And so that's kind of the timetables for that. Now, there's been a lot of really good changes to the game with the launch of the Echoes release. And you'll find that like if you log in today, that everything's basically reset. You have to kind of start from zero. But things have drastically changed. So first off, you might notice that I'm using the Grendel Wayfinder here. He's kind of like a bruiser, spin to win type of character. And I've had quite a good time playing this guy. He is pretty interesting. But you might wonder, all right, how long did it take you to grind out this particular hero? Because before, grinding out a particular hero would take a long freaking time. And this guy, I actually just got him as a drop, I believe, as a guaranteed thing as part of the campaign. And I've actually unlocked every single Wayfinder. I can summon any of them that I want, with the exception right now of Venom S. I'm not sure if she's going to be in the campaign later or something like that, but I haven't even finished the campaign, and I'm playing on the hardest difficulty. And yeah, they basically added difficulties to the game. So there is heroic, challenging, normal, and story. There's not really any benefit to playing on the harder difficulties besides feeling better about yourself. I kind of wish that there was more drop rate or something like that, but you know, playing in a hard difficulty is definitely harder than it was on launch. For other things that they updated and changed, the whole gearing process with echoes and abilities and stuff is a lot simpler. It's really easy to get weapons as well. These are all the weapons that I have in my inventory right now, and I've sold a whole bunch of these. So all I have to do to get rid of stuff that I don't really want is just hover over it and press 2, and it'll mark it to sell. And if I go to a merchant at the sell screen, I can just press 3, and it'll sell literally everything that's been marked, which making it a lot easier to deal with your inventory. Especially because now the weapons are pretty much drops. So we're getting these weapons to drop. You notice that they'll have like 3 little echo slots, and those are going to be random. The like level of them is going to be random. So it kind of seems like in terms of late game, you're going to kind of want to grind to find a good weapon drop of a particular type. But I believe you can also just purchase these at the armory vendor and kind of like roll for the particular one that you're looking for with gold. Same thing with accessories. Accessories are a lot easier to deal with now. You can easily sell them. Echoes are a lot more streamlined. Instead of like needing one echo a whole bunch of times, we used to stack like one particular weapon power echo. Now you can only use one of a type. So if I have this wolf here, I couldn't use any other wolves in my setup. So each one has to kind of be unique and different. And even despite that, kind of like feeling like it would be a nerf, I have way more weapon power than I ever did on the actual early access. Another thing they added was mounts. And so mounts are going to kind of allow you to get around the overworld a little bit easier. In the overworld, there's still like basically the same kind of gameplay that you saw before, where there's like objectives and enemies to kill and stuff, but there is not going to be any random players running around unless you're like just grouped up. Now, what I was talking here with purchasing weapons, you can buy just most of the weapons here straight up for gold. You don't need to like go out and grind a whole insane amount. And I believe that these are just going to be random stats with different echo slots. Each one of these comes with one of these like fancy slots, and it should be like 0 to 2, maybe 3 more slots on top of that. I don't know, I'm not really at end game just yet, but it definitely seems like this is a lot more reasonable in terms of grinding out your gear. Now, if I wanted to upgrade one particular type of weapon, what you would end up doing is going into here and you can choose to awaken this weapon type permanently. And you have to gather materials. Most of these materials seem pretty reasonable for now. They supposedly increase as you go along. But even without actually doing any grinding, still in the campaign, I could get an awakening level almost on some of these. And it would just make it so that every single harvest moon from this point on would have better stats in terms of better base stats, better echo capacity, might get even better as you level it up. And it's the exact same thing for actually awakening heroes as well. You might notice that my Grendel here has like a star level to it, 5 stars, and right now he's 0. And so if I just go out and get more materials for that, we'll be able to like level him up as well. In terms of that, like in terms of like the base mechanics, that's pretty much like the major changes. Things that are just like a lot smoother. It's a lot easier to deal with your inventory. There's a lot more loot. It definitely feels more Borderlands-y now, as opposed to, I guess it was like kind of more Warframey before. I've kind of like moved away from that, just like grind the same thing over and over again. And I'm pretty happy for that. They also added a talent tree. I don't know if this was something that was in here before, but this gives you the ability to kind of customize your character a little bit as your like overall Wayfinder rank levels up. And this is earned just by like earning XP on any character, even if they're already max level. You can go and invest towards more weapon power, ability power, or defenses. And so like filling out this tree and getting all sorts of special stuff. Supposedly there's some other ways to get like weapon masteries and stuff in here. I'm not really sure how all of this stuff works just yet. It's still somewhat pretty new for us, but yeah, definitely excited for seeing what their vision is and like kind of where they're going to be taking the game. It's definitely worth checking out if you're looking for some sort of action combat type of game. And it is a, like I said, it's going to be 100% just one single purchase. There's not going to be any like microtransactions or battle passes or stuff in the game. And in fact, you can do like most of the customization just like right in here. You can change whatever colors you want, and there's a whole bunch of different options and things, so you can just really kind of like deck out your Wayfinder in the way that you want with the different looks. Oh yeah, there's like different armors and stuff. These all have different stats that you can unlock, so your character can look a little different and also have different stats to it. But if you like a particular look, you could lock in one particular look for that, as opposed to looking like whatever your current gear looks like. There's more options for mounts. I've seen some vendors in different runs where they have different types of like mounts and dyes and other stuff available. But yeah. So right now we're playing on the hardest difficulty. Just gonna do like a quick little normal run here. I have to do Baldurn. It's probably in the deep. I'm missing one of the things I need. Greed and Chaos. So you have the ability to kind of do these like normal runs, and they basically have different modifiers that you can add to them. And when you combine them, they can get a little bit crazy. So I need a Chaos one. I'll buy 2 of these. So we're gonna do Greed and Chaos, which I think like puts gold all over the place and bombs all over the place. But I think the farming greed particular missions are probably a good way to go, because gold does seem kind of like the limiting factor for a lot. So you kind of see here, it says gold and bombs. The trickster's bombs are infused with greed energy. Enemies caught in the blast will be encased in gold, while players struck will face the penalties of greed. And overall, the like load times and getting in and out of zones has been a lot smoother than it has been before. Previously, I would get like stuck on the screen for like over a minute sometimes, which would be kind of bad, and the crashes and queues and stuff would be pretty ridiculous. But for the most part here, we've had a pretty smooth experience. Now, most of these runs are going to take like maybe like 10-ish minutes or so. So why not go through the entire thing? Oh gosh, this guy's big. And a reminder that we are on the hardest difficulty, so... Oh my lord. Just gonna get off of this little area up here. So the thing about this particular character is he is kind of a stagger or break damage machine. Very easy for you to stagger enemies, and it's pretty fun. Able to lock enemies down. Oh lord, these little guys hurt a lot. That shockwave goes out pretty far, which is pretty nice. Oh, we're gonna die. I need a heal. I'm not sure how balanced some of the combat is yet at this point, simply because some enemies seem to do a lot of damage, and also especially on this like super hard difficulty, the like environmental effects seem to do an incredible amount of damage, like poison on the ground or ground spikes and stuff seem to hit really freaking hard. And yeah, I'm not sure how I feel about that. All right. Oh, I should turn left back there. I can just teleport through the dungeon here. I get a little lost, not a big deal. Some of these zones are a little bit bigger, for sure. And this is like the second time I've ever ran this particular layout. And you can kind of like sprint through stuff if you don't want to necessarily fight and explore everything as you're going through the main story quest, but you'll probably end up a little bit behind in terms of gear and level and stuff. And I wouldn't recommend that if you're playing on the, you know, the hard difficulty for sure is definitely difficult. Like you need to learn the different fights and learn the different mechanics and have a good setup. Luckily, the you know, stacking weapon power seems to work pretty well still, which, you know, is what we're doing right now. Nothing like a good offense to make a good defense for sure. And daggers seem really, really strong. I was using this, and I was also using... Ooh, there's the thing that we need. I was also using... Ooh, what's that? Wingrave, who's one of the starter champions that you can get. And both of those guys are pretty good. These Fulgrim Beacon guys seem to be incredibly tanky. There we go. Get a little spin to win in my life.
Do not be tempted or fooled.
Okay.
The key is here, but you must not give in to deception.
So the trick here is that the ones that are going to be mimics are always have these little bolts in the back, and they tend to move before you make anything. Oh, I gotta start it. There we go. Here we go. This one. Oh my lord. Alright, so this one's not a mimic. And then this one's not a mimic. And I didn't really know this until I think somebody in chat pointed out, but you can just look at the back of them. You can kind of see like this one doesn't have any bolts on the back, whereas this one has 2 bolts. And so this one is the one that we want to click. If you click the mimic ones, it's not good. Alright, so this one's clear. This one's clear. And this one's clear. And that should be the event.
Yes, there is the treasure we seek.
Okay.
Bring it to me, and
that's pretty much it for this particular main quest. And so I could like run through the rest of the zone if I really wanted to, and kind of complete the rest of the dungeon. I'm not really sure where this thing ends. Seems to be a couple of different ways that we could go. Probably over here to the left would be my guess. Yeah, this kind of gives you a general idea of like what the game looks like. Now, another thing that's really great about the game now is you can actually pause the game when you press escape. Nothing's going to be happening to you in the background. So if you need to get up, get a drink of water or something like that, you can always do that. Answer the phone. And yeah, hopefully this is kind of giving you a little bit of insight as to where Wayfinders is now, and a little bit of gameplay for you. And I hope you guys have a good day. Let me know what you guys think in the comments down below. We'll see you next time.